Never give she horrors, heartache and problem. She say more you live is the more you learn.
7:20, coming up towards 7:21 in Trinidad and Tobago. The more you live, the more you learn. Well, let's learn a little bit about what is going to be happening over the next few days with a guest here in Trinidad and Tobago from the Muslim community in the United States, because we are coming towards the end of the holy month of Ramadan, the month of fasting and special prayer and a special focus on spirituality in the Muslim community. The holidays be declared already for Monday, although there is a possibility based on the sighting of the new moon that Eid, the celebration that marks the end of the fasting month of Ramadan, could be on Sunday, but we'll wait and see. But in any event, the U.S. Embassy, those folks up there at Marley Street, they have taken the approach of joining forces with the Muslim community to create better levels of understanding on both sides of the divide, if it can be termed a divide. They've invited guest speaker Nezar Hamze to hold discussions with the local Muslim community specifically. He's here alongside a couple of other personalities who I'd like to introduce. Here is Mr. Hamze, by the way. If he looks impressive and physical and you're saying, this fella look like a police officer, well, he is. He's a sheriff in Broward County, and his roots, his family from Lebanon, but he's been born as a Muslim, and therefore the name Nezar Hamze. We also have with us Hafeez Khan, who is the coordinator of the Muslim Roundtable Group, and we have with us someone who likes to stay in the background usually, but he's in the foreground with us this morning, Stephen Weeks, who is Public Affairs Officer at the U.S. Embassy. Very good morning to you all. Assalamu alaikum. Good to have you here with us. Nezar Hamze, are you how should I say it? Are you a tool of the U.S. Embassy? You have come here to tell us how your Muslim brothers and sisters how to behave?
No, not at all. You know, alhamdulillah, Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem to all the viewers. An opportunity came, you know, to come to meet my fellow brothers and sisters here. We're having a very hard and real struggle, you know, with Islamophobia. And there's a lot of difficulties that our communities are facing worldwide, not just in America, not in Trinidad, in Europe, different things. We have a lot of commonalities. We have a lot of problems that are affecting us, that are affecting our families. So that's why I came. I wanted to, you know, extend my hand, connect with the Muslim community here in Trinidad, share some ideas, some of the difficulties that we're having, some things that we're doing to combat them, and also learn. So, you know, that's what I'm doing here.
We'll talk a bit about some of the difficulties you're facing as well, because as I alluded to, from the moment I Googled Nezar Hamze, I'm hearing all sorts of things about why is this person in a prominent sheriff's position when he's associated with Hamas and so on. But we'll get to that in a moment. But let me bring in Hafeez Khan into the discussion. The roundtable, what is it all about? What is this Muslim roundtable?
The roundtable is finally a situation where the Muslims are starting to talk to one another. You know, that have been a perennial problems in Muslim communities, not only here, but across the world.
Yeah.
Right? And alhamdulillah, we have gotten a situation, we have 25 organizations that are now speaking to one another and have vowed and committed themselves to looking at the issues that affect the Muslim community, both internally and externally. And we have made some progress in that direction. We have, as a group, been able to meet with the Minister of National Security, the Minister, the AG, in respect to both concerns that, as you had indicated earlier when we were having a chat, about people living here with ISIS.
Yeah.
And how do, as a Muslim community, how do we, one, identify what are those areas that causes that problem, and then how do we work to fix it?
Is that something that the Muslim community, from those involved at the roundtable discussions, are they really dealing with it? Because the view on the ground in the Muslim community in Trinidad and Tobago is this has been known for a long time, and this has been something that's been going on for a while. We are probably per capita the largest exporter of those going to Syria to fight, and it is only now coming to light how much information was known. Is it that the Muslim community has been keeping quiet with a lot of this information?
All right, well, in terms of the development of the roundtable, it was in fact as a result of that situation that the embassy got involved and invited the Muslim community. And from there we realized that here we are, have not been able to be here all together talking about issues that affect us. And as I said, I think it's a very good progress that we have made to be able to get to that point. In 8 months, which is a very short time in terms of development of any organization, we have already accomplished a lot. At the last meeting we had about 2 weeks ago, it was agreed that we get a subcommittee to work on a memorandum of understanding or a constitution by which we could really put procedures in place for us to operate together and deal with issues. I mean, there are a myriad of issues that we have within the Muslim community that we have not been able to address. And this is one. I mean, we came into being really after the fact.
Yeah.
So we have vowed one and been working to get the necessary resources to start some research internally to identify those areas.
And Stephen Weeks, the skeptics and the cynics will say that this is the US Embassy basically creating an environment to have Muslims in Trinidad and Tobago snooping and spying on Muslims in mosques throughout Trinidad and Tobago, seeing who is a potential ISIS recruit and so on. How do you respond to that view that for as well-meaning as it appears on the surface, it's essentially about Muslims spying on Muslims that you're encouraging in Trinidad and Tobago?
What the roundtable is an effort by the Muslim community to address this issue at the level at which it really needs to be addressed, which is within the community itself. And so the embassy sees its role as simply supporting the leadership in helping them find ways, first of all, to talk with each other, and also to interface with the government. We helped set up the meetings with the Ministry of National Security and the Attorney General. But really what the plan is that the roundtable becomes an autonomous, independent organization that the embassy will support whenever it asks for help. But really, under Hafeez's leadership, it's beginning to take steps on its own, and that's exactly what we want.
But do you appreciate, and I mean, I don't expect you to get political, because I mean, we all know what the person who is now the President of the United States said on the campaign trail about Muslims, so we're not going to go into that. But do you appreciate where, because it is an initiative essentially of the US Embassy, that it will be seen to have some ulterior motive that is primarily in pursuing US interests first and foremost? Nezar, if you want to come into that.
Yeah, let me just be very clear. ISIS is using the kalima of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah to kill our brothers and our sisters, to seduce and steal our women. So when you say this is a US interest, it may be a US interest, but I can tell you as a Muslim that they are public enemy number one for us, because they are smearing our kalima. They are creating this fire of Islamophobia. And people hate turning on the TV and seeing ISIS using our kalima of La ilaha illallah and doing what they're doing. I have, in the States, started a program independent of the US government to deal with these individuals, and specifically to address the issue that you're talking about. Well, this is a US program for Muslims to spy on Muslims. That's not what this is. This is about giving the training and the resources and working with our fellow Muslims to give them the tools, the resources, knowledge and skills to deal with the issue. If somebody's identified going the wrong way, if they don't cross that criminal threshold, then we need to do what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to do, and to surround that person with love, and to surround that person with deen, and to show them the right way.
But just at that point of Islamophobia, and that's why I alluded to the front page mag, and just to give you an idea, because this whole idea of Islamophobia that we're talking about, because you're the founder of the Council on American Islamic Relations, the CAIR.
I'm a director, I'm not the founder.
Okay, sorry, a director. I think if I can just read to you the opening paragraph, which I'm sure you're familiar with. The CAIR has its foundation in the terrorist organization Hamas. It has been named as a co-conspirator by the US government for 2 federal trials dealing with the financing of Hamas. So basically they're saying, how can Nezar Hamze be a deputy sheriff when he's involved with this terrorist organization? Isn't that suggesting, Brother Hamze, that the issue of Islamophobia is something that if you're not losing the battle, that is a bigger battle within the United States rather than outside the United States?
Islamophobia is very real, and it's not just affecting Muslims in the U.S. And that particular article that you're quoting, that's done by an anti-Muslim hate group. It's called Front Page Mag.
Yeah.
They smear anybody and everything that's Muslim. I mean, if you have someone that's a Muslim that's a professor, they have ties to terrorist organizations. And that's nothing more than the $200 million Islamophobia industry that's attacking Islam and attacking our kalima. So these types of situations I completely ignore. Some people cannot because it upsets them. It is a very real problem for us because what's happening, people read this, they say, oh my God, this guy's a terrorist. Oh my God, this guy, I mean, they lose all logic, all things that make sense because they read a hate blog. And that's the problem, and that's what we do at CAIR. You had mentioned I'm the director for CAIR, is we protect the Muslim community, not just in the newsroom, but also in the courtroom. So when people are discriminated against, let's say a Muslim faces discrimination by a police officer, or that faces discrimination by traveling, or that is discriminated at their employer, we step in and we get right in the front and we give them their legal remedies, be it suing them, making a settlement, doing whatever we have to do. And that is how we build the credibility in the Muslim community, because we don't kowtow, we don't do picture politics. We don't say, oh, let's take a picture and then say, oh, it's okay, do what you want. No, 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 no. If you are an honest, trustworthy person that respects the U.S. Constitution, that treats all Americans equal, then we're with you. But if you hate Muslims, we're not with you.
And as far as dealing with this particular situation and with the hate and all that is generated, what sort of discussions have you been having? What have you been hearing from the Muslim communities in Trinidad and Tobago? As I mentioned, you were at Noor Islam yesterday for the time of the iftar, with the breaking of the fast. What are you hearing? Not just from the leaders, but maybe if some of the young people are forthright enough to give you their views, what are you hearing from them?
I've had a very limited time, and you know, the people here are beautiful. I just want to say they're full of culture. I love it, and I do plan on spending more time. In the very short time that I have been here, I've heard some serious grievances. Grievances with what's happening, right? Grievances with the police, grievances with some social service things that they need. And that's also part of, you know, why, you know, what I'm doing here, right, is to help create a platform to work with the Muslim community here, also for them to work with us, so we can help give them the tools and the resources to address some of these grievances. Because, not to wrap it back around, but it's very relevant, what's happening with ISIS.
Yeah.
They're coming here and they're saying, look, these people don't like Muslims. These people are discriminating against you. These people don't give you anything. These people are treating you like you know, second-class or third-class citizens. Come over here and you're going to live in this utopia. We're going to give you $1,000 a week, whatever the money is. All of it's a lie. All of it's a lie. All they're doing is trying to steal our brothers and sisters to go die somewhere for nothing. And these grievances is a very important process for the Muslim community to feel as they're part of Trinidad, to feel, right? And that's what this whole process is for.
And Hafeez Khan, as far as the round table and those coming together to assist in dealing with these grievances and other concerns, is that part of the mandate of the round table?
Sure, but we have to take it in perspective, because, you know, there are those who are involved in crime also in Trinidad. We have a high level of crime. We have a high murder rate, right? Is that relevant to what is happening in the Muslim community? We are part of this overall community. So the same social issues that affect those and send them to crime is the same thing will happen within the Muslim community. So to look at it in isolation in terms of the Muslim community would be wrong. And therefore, what we are doing is, as I said earlier, to try and do the research to ensure that what is happening. In the meantime, just to go back to the point of where the thing started, although it started there, it was the Muslims within the round table who really pursued it and realized that we need to do something. And here we are talking to one another, let us take it forward. It wasn't that the U.S. Embassy coaxed us into doing it.
And we have just a few minutes left. I'll get a final word from Nezar Hamze in a moment. But Stephen Weeks, as you said, you would like to see this become an autonomous organization. Are you satisfied with the way the discussions have gone so far?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's really progressed over a very short period of time, and I think every member of the roundtable sees its value for their communities and for the larger community in general. So I think that, and we're also looking for, future engagement and support in any way that they ask. As Hafeez said, this was really identified as a need by the community, and they asked us to help. But what we really want them to do is build the capacity so that they can take it on themselves.
And Nezar Hamze, just to give you again some further context, as to give you an idea how much this is impacting on us in Trinidad and Tobago. I have two cousins who went to Syria. One died in September. So that gives you an idea of how much young people, and from my own knowledge, they weren't stupid. But they were firmly believing that they were doing the right thing, and that the rest of us are just cowards who are not prepared to stand up for what is right and give their lives for what is right. So how do you, and you say that it's wrong and all of that, how do you, we don't have enough time to go in great detail, but how do you provide the direction that channels people away from what you're saying is clearly wrong?
I think the most important thing is education. Everything always starts with education. Our youth, our leadership need to educate the community on what's happening. This utopia of ISIS, excuse my language, is all bullshit. Do you understand? They took your own family. They're killing people. They are using our kalima of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah to do everything that is un-Islamic. Now, in Islam, we are taught to stand up for justice even against ourselves. Our leadership here, worldwide, is having this problem. It's just not in Trinidad, we need to stand up and not be scared of these cowards that are hiding behind these masks. Do you understand? And calling people to come over and make jihad and all this nonsense. We need to stand firm, and we need to have leadership like the leadership here that stand up and say this is the right way. And they need to be given the resources and the ability to do that so they can amplify the beautiful message of our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what they need to do. And I think if we can start there educating and whatever resources we can get to that, it's going to make a huge impact. And the only way that's going to work, and I know we're running out of time, is if the community and the government work together. And I've lived that, and I know you have a lot of skepticism, but it doesn't work alone. There has to be an autonomous organization, and they're doing that. But they don't have the resources. The government has the resources, so there has to be a partnership based on trust and transparency. And that's, inshallah, what they're trying for.
Gentlemen, it's been an interesting discussion, and again, we touched on just a few of the areas that will need a lot more time to elaborate on, and hopefully we'll have a further opportunity to continue the discussion. Thanks very much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum, Eid Mubarak, inshallah, to both of you as well, and Stephen Weeks, thanks for making this opportunity possible as well.